Hello, everybody. I'm Ariyana Love, TLB Director of Middle East Rising, the Liberty Beacon. And this is my new broadcast called Exposing the Agenda. We have Luca Majno with us again today. He is an investigative journalist, and we are covering the developments at Standing Rock. Luca, welcome. How you doing?
Good. It's good to be with you again. I'm honored. No, I'm blessed. That's what that says. I'm blessed to have you, to be with you on the show again. Yes, yes. And no better way to honor the Lakota First Nation people, Sioux. The Sioux, Lakota is their the name that they call themselves. Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota. Sioux was the name given to them by settlers, so I'm probably going to refer to them as Lakota. And what a better way to honor them during this so-called Thanksgiving holiday with covering this news. Okay, we have a lot of information to get through. Once again, this is going to be a 1-hour broadcast, so bear with us. I did interview a couple of people, a lawyer and founder of the Liberty Beacon, Roger Landry, to get legal information and to get his opinion on Standing Rock. And also I interviewed Gregory Ford. He is a whistleblower. He blew open the CIA torture program at Abu Ghraib. He exposed the CIA torture program through a 60 Minutes program. Anyway, he was actually helped design some of the military tactics which are being used right now at Standing Rock. So he gave some very helpful advice for the water protectors in order to protect lives. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Okay, so I do have notes to read from. Do you see me looking down? Morton County Sheriff Department, you are guilty of treason against we the people. You are guilty of domestic terrorism. You are guilty of international war crimes and crimes against humanity, and a whole other list of crimes which are domestic. All right, here is who controls America. Big oil, biochemical companies, military-industrial complex, and big pharma, which is a drug cartel. A lot of holistic doctors are getting whacked, meaning they're getting murdered, executed right now all across America because of big pharma. And AIPAC, that is the Jewish lobby in America. They are responsible for passing a lot of our draconian laws. And I want to talk a little bit about the Jewish mafia, the Zionist Cabal, okay? Just to clarify who they are, because after speaking with a Native American brave at Standing Rock, I realized that they do not have this knowledge, even though they do understand that the same people behind the illegal occupation of Palestine are also the same people who are behind big oil and the DAPL pipeline, the Dakota Access Pipeline. But they don't know that it is a mafia. They don't have that information. So I'm going to clarify for the audience. The Jewish mafia, now this is not against the Jewish people in any way, shape, or form. We the people, the Jewish people, are also used as pawns in this game. And the true Torah Jews and the Sephardic Jews of Palestine, the original Palestinian Jews, are all against the illegal occupation of Palestine. Israel is not a state. If newsflash, if people don't know this, it is an illegal military occupation according to international laws. That's why they continue to occupy and genocide and steal land and brutalize the Palestinian people. It's the only way that they can continue to exist. Only the occupied people have the right, the legal right, to legitimize Israeli statehood, and they haven't done so. So that's why the Palestinians are being brutalized, because they refuse to acknowledge the existence of an Israeli state, a Jews-only state, which is a very racist ideology. Anyway, the Jewish mafia, The Jewish mafia was always more powerful in America than the Italian mafia ever was. Okay, the Jewish mafia's crimes were horrific. They have not gone anywhere. The only reason why we don't know about them is because they control Hollywood. They were the ones who put the Italian mafia into the forefront of our eyes, so that we would think that the Italian mafia was the powerful mafia in America. And this is a diversion tactic, and this is what they do. They always create a diversion so that to put our attention somewhere else, and this is exactly what they did. They snuffed out the Italian mafia. They exist to this day. They are the ones behind the New World Order. It is the Jewish mafia is a small elite group of people who are Zionists. Now, Zionism, the Zionist Cabal, so Jewish mafia or Zionist Cabal. These are the two terms that I use. The Zionist Cabal, you don't have to be Jewish to actually be a Zionist. You can have any other kind of faith belief system, but what unifies all the Zionists is their occult ritual, which is very satanic. Many of them are pedophiles. The majority of them are pedophiles. And in fact, the WikiLeaks documents that were just released, the Podesta emails, prove that the elites who are running the world, who are running our financial banking system, who control the media, who are running the illegal occupation of Palestine, who are behind big oil and have money invested in the DAPL pipeline. Okay, these are all Zionists, and they are Satanists, and they are mostly pedophiles, and they run the child sex trafficking rings, and all that black market money runs through Israel. So Israel is the fiefdom for the Rothschilds. It is the haven for criminals. So I want to explain that. Another thing that's very important to mention. Okay, Zionism. Who are Zionists? What do they believe? They follow the Talmud. The Talmud is one of the most evil books on the planet. It dates all the way back to Babylon. It has been revised many times. The last time was 100 years ago, at the same time when the Zionists revised the Bible and did a new Bible translation in the New Testament, where they inserted, okay, this is blasphemy. To insert anything into the Bible is absolutely blasphemy. But they inserted information about Israel and the chosen people, okay, to brainwash the masses. And so a lot of Christians in America are Zionists, Christian Zionists. They're blindly supporting Israel and, the billions of dollars that Americans, by the way, Obama passed, he awarded Israel with the largest aid package in American history. Mm-hmm. So Obama, the treasonous bastard, needs to be restrained by his neck. He passed so many, we'll get into that in a minute. Back to Zionism and the Talmud. The Talmud, okay, the Zionists follow the Talmud. The Talmud, now I want to give a little bit of background. The Talmud was the book that the Jews followed before Moses came. And they were lost into this occult, okay? The Quran says that the Jews were given the knowledge of magic and told not to use it. But they began to use it in order to conquer and to gain control over other people and brutalize other people. Throughout history, this is what happened. And they were punished. This is what the Quran says. All right. The Talmud is the book that they were following. And Moses came to lead the Jewish people out of this barbarism and back onto the red road, back onto the way, okay, a higher path. They didn't really listen to Moses. And so Jesus came to preach to the Jews as well and tried to lead them into the right way. Some of them listened, some of them didn't. And basically what Moses inspired was the creation of, or the writing of the Torah, the teachings of the Torah. But what the Jewish community did is they took the Torah and they inserted it into the Talmud. So they kind of follow a hodgepodge of everything. The true Torah Jews, who knows? I don't know if they follow just the Torah or also the Talmud or what. But anyway, it's a mess. And the Torah, the Talmud, sorry, just to give you people an idea of how evil this book is, there are 6 pages within the Talmud, and you can Google this.
6 pages within the Talmud that condone pedophilia. They condone, it says a Jewish man can marry a child or have sex with a child who is 3 years old and 1 day. And this is supposedly legal. Okay, there's a lot of people who call themselves Jews who are following the Talmud. In Israel, 98% of the rabbis, now rabbis are the leaders of the Jewish community, okay? They help people go to them for circumcision. They go to them for advice on who to marry, advice on what school to study, where to live, yada, 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 okay? These are spiritual leaders of the community. 98% of the Jewish rabbis in Israel have declared themselves publicly Zionists. This means they follow the Talmud. And it's another reason why we see a high rate of child molestation and child rape, especially among boys within the Jewish community, unfortunately, because of the Talmud. So this needs to be understood. Why the elite leaders of the world are pedophiles? Why are they Satanists? Why are they doing satanic blood sacrifice? Okay, and this is all out in the open. I'm not making this up. Don't shoot the messenger. You know, if you didn't do your research, well, shame on you, you know. So the Talmud, guys, it's a very evil, and this practice has been around since Babylon. So it's nothing new. Now, the Khazarians supposedly converted to Judaism some less than 1,500 years ago. And these are very, very warring people. And basically 98% of the Jewish community globally are from this Khazarian roots, okay? Ashkenazi Jews, Khazarians. You can look that up, you can research it. Anyway, the majority of them are Zionists. And even the Jewish community may not know they're following Zionism. A lot of them don't even know what Zionism is. They never researched this stuff. They just were born into it and they follow blindly. That's what, you know, a lot of Americans follow blindly our government. They think that our government is there to serve the people. No, it isn't. It's been hijacked 100% since 9/11. We have to get that through our brain. So anyway, that's a little bit of background right there on Zionism. And we need to become familiar with who they are because we have to defeat them. Otherwise, it's total enslavement of mankind. And I don't think anybody wants that. So education is key. Okay, basically the US government is frothing at the mouth right now for an uprising. They want any excuse they can get to declare martial law. And for an example of this is, you know, during the anti-Trump protests, George Soros was paying people, you know, $18 an hour, bringing people in busloads to infiltrate the demonstrations and to make them violent, specifically to be violent. So we know that. And this is an example of how they're trying to create an uprising in America. The Zionist Cabal does not want Trump in office, because he's unpredictable. You know, he doesn't follow their orders very well. He's a very arrogant man. Don't get me wrong. I'm not pro-Trump. I mean, he said some horrific things that should concern us all. But he is maybe he's a loose cannon for them. We'll say that. And who knows what side he's on? Time will tell. They want Obama to declare a national emergency. This is very important. Martial law, basically. And that would suspend all elections and keep Obama in office as a dictator. Okay, because he's a very good Zionist dog. He follows orders very well. This would override our Constitution. They want to spark an uprising at Standing Rock, and that's why police are staging things. They have staged explosions. They have started fires, either DAPL or the police, but they're working in cahoots with each other. And they're trying to get people angry so that they will revolt with aggression. It's not been working because the good, brave people of Standing Rock, the good, brave water protectors, and the Lakota people have been resisting peacefully. I'm going to give an example. Okay, we're talking about Backwater Bridge, right? This was not this last Sunday, but the week before. This was a horrific
violation of human rights. There were hundreds of people. Okay, the latest reports is that 500 people were wounded and had to be treated, and the majority of them were treated for hypothermia. The Morton County Sheriff's Office and other militarized police had barricaded Backwater Bridge. Now, this is it is the main road going to the closest town that has the nearest hospital. Okay, and people were assembled on the bridge to move two burned trucks that the police had left in the road blocking traffic. But they had the whole bridge barricaded with this barbed wire fence from one point to the other, one side to the other. Hundreds of people on the bridge. They were trapped. There was nowhere for them to go. There was water to the left, water to the right, and behind them a bunch of people. Reports were that they would have had to climb over each other in order to escape. Now, they unleashed water cannons for 7 hours, 3 trucks, 3 water cannons on the crowd. And they also shot the less than lethal weapons, but they were firing at people. They were firing at people at point blank range, and they were firing at the head, and they were firing at the groin, and there was no escape route, and they were not tending to the wounded. They had no medical aid. Okay, and these are war crimes. This is against international law. Basically, they've also dug up the bones of the ancestors. Now, Turtle Island is a burial ground for the Lakota Sioux Nation. Okay, not only are their ancestors buried there, but their grandparents, their parents, and some of their sons and daughters. Okay, this latest generation. The bones of their freaking relatives are buried there. And what does DAPL do? And the police, they dug up the bones and they mixed them in with the sacred artifacts. Okay, they were chasing water protectors out of their camps violently, arresting people, confiscating their sacred items purposefully, and then they dumped them all together in a pile. Here you go. And with the bones of their freaking relatives, okay? They had urinated on them, they defecated on them, they sprayed toxic chemicals on them. This is probably in an attempt to try to anger the people so that they will resist with violence. They will get violent. It didn't work, okay? They're actually, the only thing that they're armed with, the water protectors, is prayer. All right, they want to establish a police state. I'm going back to this. Obama is a treasonous bastard. He needs to be restrained by his neck immediately and tried for treason. He has passed, it was 6 or 7 executive orders, which are draconian laws. They are not legal, okay? And they are, these executive orders do not override the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And this is a dictatorship. This is treason. Okay, Obama must be restrained. And let's see. And I just want to mention that the punishment for treason to this day in America is execution, public execution by hanging. All right. Only if we accept these laws do we make those executive orders legal. So we have to resist. All right, we're going to talk about the tribal history. This is very important. We've been doing our research, and basically we're going to talk about the Treaty of Fort Laramie. By law, the DAPL, the Dakota Access Pipeline, according to the treaty, they have to get permission from the tribal council and the tribal police before they can build on tribal land, which they did not do. And they also do not, in fact, they did have a meeting, you said, in 2014, and the tribe refused to allow them to build. So they are building. First of all, that is illegal. Second of all, they do not have permission from a court of law. There is a trial going on right now, and it's undetermined yet. There's no decision made. So their building right now is highly illegal. The Army Corps is calling this federal land. All right, they're saying this land that the pipeline is being built on is federal land, is Army Corps land. But it was stolen 2 times by the U.S. government. And the Treaty of Fort Laramie is something that if you will, Luca is going to explain to us. I'm going to run and go get my charger cord while Luca continues to talk, because my battery's getting low on my computer. So Luca, you have the floor. I'll be right back.
This is, you have to forgive us because there's so much to talk about. There's so much information to give out that we have to read from the notes because it has to be structured so well. The harsh reality of it all is that our government is in the process of stealing all the land in what is called these United States today, just as they did in the past to our original brothers and sisters, the Native Americans. We have more on this and other things in an upcoming broadcast with a specialist in the field. And it'll be revealing because he's going to explain to us all how we can stop all this dictatorship from happening. And yes, we can stop it, but there's not much time left. And it's up to we, the people, to do something. Basically, government stole this land in the past by way of treaties, some 500 of them, all of which were broken. The Indians did not break one. They were amended, they were nullified at will in an effort to suit themselves, these invaders, so that the march west could be fruitful and successful. The attitude of the invader is particularly evident and surprising, I might add, to most of us, which leads up to this final Indian War, as they call it, which our red brothers and sisters call more a slaughter than a war, at Wounded Knee Creek in December of 1890. I have a quote here to explain that. Quote, "Having wronged the Indians for centuries, we had better, in order to protect our civilization, follow it up with one more wrong and wipe these untamed and untamable creatures from the face of the earth." That was written by L. Frank Baum, who ran the Aberdeen Saturday Pioneer from 1890 to 1891. Wounded Knee, December of 1890. So
it's a good example of the mindset.
It's incredible. And this is the most racist part of America. That's also another reason why all this is happening with the police, because Indians can't get a job. There are actually signs on doors or on windows or businesses saying no Indians allowed, no Indians and dogs or dogs allowed. This treaty in question was no different. The Fort Laramie Treaty of 1851 was signed on September 17th, 1851 by the United States treaty commissioners and representatives of the Cheyenne, the Sioux, the Arapaho, the Crow, the Assiniboine, the Mandan, the Hidatsa, and the Arikara nations. They were all together. This treaty was an agreement between these nine more or less independent parties with very explicit content, very clear wording, saying that this land was for them and for them only. No one had the right to infringe upon it or set foot on this land, and it was kept solely for them and their usage. As time went on, these parcels of land got smaller and smaller as government went back on the word, as they always have before, with all the other treaties made. They'd come up and they'd say, this land is yours. And then a couple of years later, they'd come back and they'd say, this land is not yours. After making, excuses to remake or amend the treaties. So what we're seeing today at Standing Rock with this unceded Sioux territory under the 1851 Fort Laramie Treaty clearly marked, once again, they draw up this pipeline route directly through the promised lands, cutting straight through a good chunk of it after rerouting the pipeline through the reservation, because the original draft proposal that they had, the population of Bismarck, close by, a town of mostly Anglo-Saxon/whites, worried about the consequences of having it too close to their town. So they move it over into Indian territory. Who cares, right? In another indignant decision, Dakota Access Pipeline shows just how far they will go and how willing they are to do as they please as they hurry to finish this project, because apparently this deadline for this project expires on January 1st, 2017, as far as I understand it. Remember, this is a $3.8 billion contract with banks, many banks in many countries, showing the colossal size of this project and how far it stretches. Some of these banks have even thought of, and some have even backed out of this project because of the negative attention that it's getting. No wonder Dakota Access Pipeline, they're showing such brutal force in trying to protect their endeavor. And you see a significant drop in their market shares as well. Dallas Goldtooth gives us a clear idea of what it feels like to be lied to be bullied into submission and genocided yet again in one of his videos lighting up social media.
We're trying to protect land that was taken from us, and now we're being seen as trespassers on our own land. Our people are tired and sick. Our people are done with sacrificing our self-determination for the profits of billionaires. It's infuriating to look at hills that have our ancestors buried there. Sacred ground, burial mounds carrying our grandparents. And we're told that we can't walk there, that we can't pray there, that we can't put our bodies on the line to protect for it. That pain runs deep. Where this pipeline is proposed across the Missouri River is within the designated area of the 1851 Fort Laramie Treaty. That land was designated for our usage, land that was stolen from us by the United States government, land that was sold to white farmers and ranchers, and then resold to multi-billion-dollar corporation Energy Transfer Partners. It's far beyond ironic that we're being persecuted protecting our land that was stolen from us. What happened on that day when the police attacked our treaty camp is nothing new. For a lot of us, it's just a continuation of 500 years of resistance against colonization and state oppression, where we are merely doing what our ancestors did. It hurts so deeply that in the same place that our ancestors struggled for their lives, we're still struggling today. What's changed? Nothing's changed. We're still struggling for our lives here. We're still struggling for the future.
Absolutely powerful words. Very powerful. A couple of things. The DAPL is losing a lot of money. They're $10 million in the hole right now from hiring, the private military contractors and stuff. So they are losing a lot of money. And like you said, people are starting to pull their shares out and sell their shares and things like that. So they are losing now. It's not, it's looking good for them. Also, the racism of that area. I published an article called "The U.S. Government is Committing Treason and Domestic Terrorism at Standing Rock," and this article is an example. I was covering the story of the Backwater Bridge that happened a week ago, and I caught Morton County Sheriff's Office in a blatant lie. Basically, Sophia Wilansky, they targeted her. They shot her 14 times. The medic report stated that she was targeted with these so-called less than lethal rubber bullets. They're very dangerous, and she was shot 14 times. She was shot in the groin, and they threw a concussion grenade directly at her. Eyewitnesses confirmed that she was directly targeted, and the concussion grenade blew her arm wide open to the bone from the elbow to the wrist. Okay, they're not sure if she's even going to keep her arm. Now, Morton County Sheriff Department immediately came out with a lie. The same evening, I think. Yeah, at almost 5 a.m. in the morning.
And they said that they made up a story, which was broadcasted by ABC News, who didn't do any due diligence. They just squawking crows, repeating what they hear. Their story goes that they saw her with a propane tank and she was getting ready to hurl it at police. So that's why they had to shoot her, okay? Because she had some weapon, propane tank, okay? And they put a picture of a burned propane tank on their Facebook page. And they said, ooh, look what we found. Evidence, okay? And they mentioned Sophia. And they also mentioned an explosion that occurred on the bridge that critically wounded another female, all right? There was an explosion with a propane tank. Nobody knows who caused that explosion. Second time we hear a propane tank. Now, we know they're lying about Sophia because the day before, on Tuesday, doctors were pulling shrapnel out of her arm, which is from a concussion grenade. So they denied shooting her with a concussion grenade. They even denied having water cannons, let alone shooting them at people. They blatantly denied it. Oh, we don't have, in a press release. Okay, we don't have water cannons. We didn't shoot people. We were putting out fires with water hoses. That's what they said. Fires that were caused by the water protectors. There were some fires, small contained fires, to keep warm because it's sub-freezing temperatures. But they weren't putting those fires out. No, they were spraying the people. Everybody knows that now. So they lied, and they lied again. And they used propane tanks, all right? I put a link to their Facebook post, all right, into my article. And I said, look, is this false flag? Did they cause the other explosion with the propane tank? Are they planting evidence? And there's been mysterious fires too, which have started, which threatened the camps. And the water protectors had to put out field fires, and they have evidence of some device that started. Water protectors have posted evidence on their pages of that started the fires. So here twice we hear propane tank. We know they're lying. So did they plant the explosive? Did they critically wound a person through treachery? I mean, this is amazing, right? Guess what they did? Within 1 hour of me publishing my article with a link to their post, their Facebook page comes down. And they haven't put it back up. So I caught them deliberately lying, all right, to the public. And this is not the first time. And I think I'm the first journalist from any news agency, news network, to publish on this, to expose them in a lie. And that's because we know mainstream media who owns it, the Zionist Cabal. So anyway, yes, they are very racist. I went to the Facebook page again today, and of course I'm posting my article all through it. The Facebook page is there, but their posts are gone. And they're saying they're having some technical difficulty. Okay. Well, somebody, there was some very racist comments by locals. There was, so yes, they're very, very racist. This is their mindset. And they see the natives as, nothing's changed really as from before. Anyway. Okay. All right. Let's talk about, there was an announcement by the Army Corps. They said that the Oseti-Sakowin, which is the largest camp, they're saying that camp has to move, and that they created a sort of safe zone a little bit south of the camp. All right. And this has alarmed, brought up concerns, because in the past, they were forcibly removing people from their tents and confiscating, sacred items and abducting people. It's not arrest. They have no right to touch anyone. So these are abductions, all right, under international law, because these were peaceful protesters. They did no wrong. And many, many people have been abducted. They've been tortured. They've been held in dog kennels for hours on end, naked, stripped down, naked, without a blanket, and left in their cell for hours without a blanket. They've been absolutely humiliated. There's no reason for this, none whatsoever. These are torture techniques, and it's unacceptable. Anyway, and people need to know about it, because freaking mainstream media is not saying a word about what's really going on. And they're slapping the water protectors with criminal charges, Class C felonies now. This is to try to dissuade people from resisting.
It's not working. All right, so this is treason, folks. This is domestic terrorism. Morton County Sheriff Department, stand down. Orders from we the people. Immediately stand down. All right. This is a militarization of the police force and with the National Guard. The National Guard is involved, so federal government is complicit in this treason. Morton County Sheriff's Office is breaking the law. Okay, I've listed, but I'm going to go into a few more specifics. Whenever, and this was according to Gregory Ford, all right, an expert on military strategy, all right, and what the military is allowed and not allowed to do. Whenever the military or police are using less than lethal weapons, okay, like stun grenades and smoke bombs, CS gas, by law, they have to allow an escape route. And they didn't do this at Backwater Bridge. The people were absolutely trapped in. And this is a major crime. Okay? Second, they must treat the wounded. And they didn't do this. In fact, they were medically torturing people who were critically wounded. They had to wait hours on end before they could be airlifted by a helicopter because they were blocking the main road. That is a war crime. All right. That road on Backwater Bridge is the main road to the main town that has the nearest hospital. There is a media blackout on this, folks, in the United States. Corporate Zionist Cabal media doesn't want you to know about this. Okay, let's see. All right, we have some advice for the water protectors. This was from Gregory Ford. You can take it or leave it, but I've got to throw it out there. This is for people's protection. He helped to design some of the tactics that are being used right now at Standing Rock. He's a whistleblower. He himself was tortured for trying to stop the torture program at Abu Ghraib in Iraq. All right, he's a wonderful, wonderful man. And he said that the police will shoot first and ask questions later, and they are just frothing at the mouth for a reason. They'll even stage one to try to enforce martial law. But I don't think they're going to do it right now because of the politics, the political situation with the elections. They don't want another Waco at the moment. Doesn't mean they won't do it later, but they don't want another, catastrophe quite like that. They'd love to open fire, don't get me wrong. They're racists. But he says, do not confront the police whatsoever. This was his advice. He said, when the police when the police are using less than lethal weapons, first, there's 3 rules. First, they have to warn the people. Second, they have to provide an escape route. And third, they have to treat the wounded, which they didn't do. He says, be careful if they use gas. They are using 2 forms of gas. Okay, yes, the CN gas is red, CN gas, and the CS gas is blue. The CN gas is a tear gas. It's normal tear gas. And the CS gas is a little bit stronger and a little more dangerous. It is a nerve agent. It disorients people and it causes panic. People will be jumping into the water to get away from it. It can also cause seizures. And we actually saw footage of a guy who was jumping over the fence, over the barbed wire fence, and over the barricade in what looked like he was having a seizure, and he was trying to get away from something. And he literally jumped towards the police, which is not something that a person would normally do, landed on his head from the pretty big fall, and looked like what he was seizuring. And the police immediately carried him away and started beating him with fists. Okay, this is a guy having a seizure. And of course they abducted him. All right. So he suggests, Gregory suggests, don't pick up the canisters. They are burning red hot. And that's why they're starting fires. They are very, very hot, and it's very dangerous if you pick them up. If you do that, know what you're doing. I guess some people have been throwing t-shirts over them and then tossing them back at the police. They recommend just don't touch them. A lot of water protectors have had to put out fires. On Backwater Bridge, they were putting out fires from these gas bombs. He says, if something happens again, like at Backwater Bridge, now this is what I think is very, very important. He says, everybody should hit the deck. If they start firing into the crowd with these less than lethal weapons, get down flat on the ground. He said, it's harder to shoot people on the ground when they're on the ground. He says, and whatever, and this is the most important thing, you guys, he says, whatever you do, do not run. Do not run. He says, when you run, it's an automatic signal to open fire, and they will target you. People were hitting the back of the head, they were hitting their backs when they were running away, because that's how they are trained, folks. So this is, you know, very, very important. Do not run. Whatever you do, do not run. And if there's a problem, hit the deck. You'll be safer when lying flat on the ground. All right. Rubber bullets are the size of tennis balls. All right. They're rubber-coated steel bullets. They're the size of tennis balls. They're 44 millimeters in diameter. And it's a projectile. They hit with so much force that they can literally split a person right open. All right. These are extremely dangerous. They can kill. They can cause brain damage. Police are not allowed to shoot people in the head and the groin like they were freaking doing at the Backwater Bridge. This is illegal. There were so many people who were critically injured because from these rubber bullets, because they were targeted directly in the head. Elders, a 13-year-old child, many women critically injured. 27 people were 27 people were critically injured, and they had to wait hours before they could be evacuated. Now, the police were shooting in the groin and in the head. Now, they're only allowed to shoot at center mass, okay, which is from the base of the neck down to the top of the groin, the torso area. The reason you can't shoot people in the brain is because it can kill you. If it hits you in the temple, bam, you're dead. And this is extremely dangerous what the police were doing. It can cause brain damage when you get hit in the head, all right? And a lot of people who were critically injured were targeted directly in the head. Yes, there were elders praying at the front line who got shot at point blank range in the head. This is just disgusting. Sophia Wilansky had to wait 8 hours before she was airlifted. They did not provide an escape route, and this is medical torture, international war crime. This is severe prosecutable litigation here, folks. Severe, okay? We're not even dealing with just domestic law here. Morton County is in deep, deep trouble. That is a fact. They might as well turn in their badges right now and cease and desist. I mean, they have to stand down. All right. The law is that the wounded people take priority over the incident itself. And they were not administering life-saving treatment, and they were not providing an escape route or medical care. All right. As I see this situation at Standing Rock, this is an opportunity, folks. This is the good news. All right. I'm going to bring the note up a little bit. Standing Rock is an opportunity right now for America to unite. It is uniting. Standing Rock is uniting all the tribes, the Native American tribes. There's over 500 of them, and they're coming from all over the country to stand with Standing Rock. There's 15,000 people assembled. And on December 3rd, they're due to arrive veterans, a group of veterans as well, to stand with Standing Rock and peacefully demonstrate. This is an opportunity, everybody, to repeal the anti-terrorist laws that were passed after 9/11. This is our chance, okay? And we must do it. Again, or otherwise it's the New World Order, militarization of the planet, one world government, and nobody wants that. This is our chance to repeal all the draconian laws that were passed after 9/11, the anti-terrorist laws, and the bogus executive orders that Obama passed. This is our chance, and we have to seize it.
basically Standing Rock needs, this is another thing that Gregory suggested, Standing Rock needs lawyers. We need lawyers out there, civil rights lawyers. The Standing Rock Sioux tribe, it's called, the tribal council, they have a duty, okay, to file an emergency injunction with the federal court, which they have not done. Since that event, they should have done it weeks ago, a long time ago, and especially after that event at Backwater Bridge. They haven't done it. Why haven't they done it? What is wrong? Are these sellouts? Are they treasonous too? What the hell is going on? They're supposed to be protecting the people. So, I mean, this is mind-blowing. I'm trying to get in touch with them just to ask them why haven't they done it? You know? And guess who had to file an injunction? The wounded people from Backwater Bridge. The people who were wounded. The victims are filing. They should never have to do that. Okay? At least somebody is doing it. An injunction has been filed, so Morton County Sheriff's Department is going to face trial. Thank goodness. All right.
And now they wanted to move, the commander wants to move the camp by December, on December 5th.
They want to move the camp. The Army Corps announced that they're going to move the camp. The water protectors have said, we're not moving. Okay. In fact, it would be dangerous to their lives. Exactly. Right now, it's in the dead of winter. Okay. They set up the camp in order to endure the winter. If they have to move now, they could risk their lives. They're not prepared to move to another location. And I think that, well, there was an article released today by Al Jazeera where the Army Corps has announced that they're not going to forcibly move anybody. All right. But they're still going to insist that they move. So how are they going to do that? I mean, should we trust them? In the past, they have forcibly moved people and abducted them in the process. So what does their word mean at this point?
And I'm pretty sure that this is a military tactic as well. This is how they work. They do this. They warn people in advance, and like Ariyana says, they're itching to instigate violence and to shoot. Another reason for this is that it's a racist country, as the racist part of the country, as we know. They warn people in advance so that come time of the deadline, they can start shooting at will and even shooting to kill because they feel justified. Hey, we gave you the warning. You didn't heed. So it's going to be something to see.
The heat is on them now. People are watching. The world is watching. I mean, when that footage got out, and the people know they lied. You know, the Morton County Sheriff Department, it's obvious they lied. They said they didn't use water. They didn't even have water cannons. Did they think they were going to get away with that? How stupid can they be? You know, I mean, what are these people smoking? Anyway, yeah, and you know, folks, we do have a chance. We do have a chance to repeal all of these draconian laws and these anti-terrorist laws. We have to do it. We, the people, don't expect anybody else to do it. What is that saying? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So anybody in a position of power, any of our politicians, they have to pledge allegiance to Israel now. You don't get into Congress or the Senate or unless you pledge allegiance and sign a document saying that you are loyal to Israel. Folks, hello. And, you know, this is treason. You're not allowed to be loyal to any other but we the people. And we the people are the ones who are going to turn this around. Nobody else. We have to do it. And an example of success that we can achieve, that we can do this, is the fact that we succeeded in repealing the declassification of the 28 pages of the redacted pages of the 9/11 Commission report. They were just publicized last week, and now we know who did 9/11 without a shadow of a doubt.
Yes, we do. And can I throw that in?
Yeah, please.
On September, this is like she says, it's public knowledge. Go to rense, rense.com, and you'll find on 2001, quote, on September 11th, the attack on the World Trade Center is orchestrated by Israel with the complicity of Britain and America under the orders of the Rothschilds as a pretext for removing the liberty of the people worldwide in exchange for security, just as they did with the Reichstag fire in Germany, where the citizens were lied to in order to give up their liberty for security. They also will use these attacks to gain control of the very few nations left in the world that don't allow Rothschild central banks. So, less than a month after these attacks, the U.S. forces attack Afghanistan. Yeah, one of the only 7 countries in the world who don't have Rothschild-controlled central banks, unquote. I mean, it's very long, but that's the most important part of it.
So now, folks, there's no excuse. We know who did 9/11. Those 28 redacted pages, read them. Read them. Share the information with your friends.
They not only did...
It's an example that we, the people, can succeed. We fought for that, and we succeeded in classifying them.
They not only did 9/11, but there's an FBI whistleblower that says that every single terrorist attack in the United States is a false flag event. So,
yes,
there you go.
With Israel behind it. Israel is leading the New World Order, folks. Israel was created by the Rothschilds. Again, it's their fiefdom. We have a chance to unite, folks. And this issue at Standing Rock, it doesn't just concern Americans. It concerns the whole planet. Because after 9/11, these draconian laws that were passed, these anti-terrorist laws, affect the entire globe. Look what's happening in Europe. Look what's happening in France. All the false flags across the planet. It's the same people behind it. They want to enforce a one world government and a new world order. And this is a global militarization of our planet that we're seeing. So what's happening at Standing Rock? We have to defeat the pipeline. We have to stand up against big oil. We have to stand with our brothers and sisters, because that fight, they're on the front lines for us.
Mm-hmm.
And they're up against the same enemy that is the enemy of humanity. We do not want to be in total enslavement of mankind. We don't want that for our future. No, no, no. We have to stand, we the people, united. It doesn't take much. 3% of the population or 3% of America is enough. And we have solutions. We have solutions coming. I want to emphasize before we get into that, because we have just a few more minutes left. We have of this broadcast, about 5 more minutes. Again, lawyers need to go to Standing Rock. Everybody at Standing Rock needs to film at all times. Pull out your cell phones, bring your cameras. Do not go to Standing Rock without a camera. Everybody, and citizens need to be journalists. Citizens journalism is where it's at these days, guys, because that is evidence. That is evidence that will be used against these treasonous bastards, okay, who are loyal to Zionism and Israel and not the American people. We have to have evidence. A good example of the seeing is believing, folks, and a good example of this is Rodney King. That shook the police force in America to the core. When that video was released, whoa, everything changed. And they became so careful.
One video.
One video.
One video did that.
Yes. It put the police on the spot, and they became very, very, very careful about every move that they make and what they do. And they realized they can be filmed at any time. So we need everybody filming. We need lawyers and civil rights lawyers. I think that I saw an article that stated that the victims of Backwater Bridge, of that night's catastrophe and brutality, they did file an injunction. And I hope they filed it with the federal court. This is what needs to happen. The tribal council, the Sioux, Lakota tribe needs to file an emergency injunction tomorrow with the federal court, all right? Or they're gonna look really, really bad, okay? Maybe they don't know about this. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe nobody informed them, all right? Now's your chance. I'm going to send this video to you guys. So there's going to be no excuse. You have a little bit of leeway to go do that, all right? 1 week, that's enough time. But there's no excuse for it not having been done already.
And if they don't,
does the tribal council understand how the Lakota people feel about you? How the tribe feels about you? They have nothing kind to say, nothing nice to say. They don't trust you anymore. I wonder why. You haven't taken any action to protect them. This blew my mind when I found out about this. My jaw dropped. I couldn't believe it. All right, so anyway, also one more thing. All right, if you want to study, Gregory Ford recommended one more thing for people to understand and learn about the tactics being used by the military against we the people. He recommended a book called Rise of the Warrior Cop by Radley Balko. That's Radley, and then Balko is Balko. That will give you an understanding of the police tactics which are being used, and hopefully it can help to protect everybody. So we have a chance, folks. We do. We have to unite and stand together. This is our golden opportunity. We may not get another one. And we have another guest. Luca, Majno, and I have another guest coming on the show. This is called, again, it's called Exposing the Agenda. And our guest that's coming on has a solution for all of us, for all of humanity, and especially for America right now. And we have an opportunity to repeal these draconian laws. So that's going to be our next show. I guess, is there anything else you want to add, Luca?
Thank you for asking. The trick is that all of these things that are happening to enslave us depend on us not knowing about these laws. Yes. Okay? This is the most important thing. And everybody doesn't. Everybody's got too much to do. They got 3 kids. They got 2 jobs. They have to drive so many hours or whatever to go to work and back. They don't have time to research. This is why the government took advantage of it. This is why we're being enslaved, because nobody knows. Same thing with the Indians. All the treaties were done in languages that they would not understand, and they were taken advantage of. And if we want the same thing to happen, fine. Sit back and put your feet up and drink a beer and, don't even care. But if you do care, it's time, because your little voice counts. Everybody says, oh, I'm not going to do anything. I don't, how can I change the world? Well, Ariyana and I were asking the same question, each one of us. What can I do? We're doing what we can do. One of the reasons why Ariyana is so angry is because she sees what's going on in Palestine, and it's exactly the same thing that's going on in the States. Everywhere around the world.
It's my freedom too. It's my children's freedom. It's our future. You guys, I don't want in total enslavement of humanity. I don't want to be enslaved. This is not what I want for us. And we have a chance. We are the solution. We the people. And there is hope. There really is hope. And I know this. And I can't really tell all what I know at this time. But we're giving all the information that we can. We're going to do our best, Luca, Majno, and I, to educate. Because I think education is key. And to provide, there are solutions and there is hope. And look at, what we did in getting the 28 redacted pages of the 9/11 Commission report declassified and released to the public. That's a huge victory, you guys, huge. And yes, we can win. Yes, we can defeat. They're few in numbers. They are. And we the people are the majority. We only need a small percentage of us to unite with our voices. And knowledge is key. Yes, knowledge. And I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in these things. I haven't spent my life studying this, just the past few years. And I feel that being a layman, it's going to help to translate this information to everybody else. So don't be intimidated by this. We have to learn. Shut off the TV. Just shut it off and tune into watch videos like this broadcast, share them with your friends. Take the time to actually inbox people. Post this on your wall. That's what you can do. And it does make a difference.
It will scare them.
Yep. And there's more to come. Change your profile picture, your Facebook profile picture, to something that's in solidarity with Standing Rock. This is very powerful. These are things what we can do. If you think you can't do something, you can. These are simple things, but they're powerful. People see that. Social media is where it's at. We have that, thankfully. They haven't been able to censor completely and silence our voices. So this show is called Exposing the Agenda. Please tune in for the next one. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm Ariyana Love, the TLB Director of Middle East Rising. We are the Liberty Beacon News Network. We are a top online news network in the world, one of the top online news networks in the world. I am very proud to say that, because we've worked very, very hard to get to where we are. We're 100% independent. We represent the voice of the people. We are not censored news. We are doing our best to bring the truth where mainstream media and even alternative media mostly doesn't. We are listed right next to CNN, BBC, Fox News, yada, yada, ABC, yada, yada. And yet we are the real deal. So, thanks for being with us. Share this. Peace out. Free Palestine.
Not on my life. Will you see me to die? I'm not gonna fight for what's not mine. Not on my life. Will you see me to die? A good king, a big old survivor. Not on my life. Will you see me to die?